Welcome back to Coda's Movie Cave. For today, we shall take a recap of the House of Dragon Targaryens, more or less. So yes, we shall review the events of Episode 8 in somewhat detail. Okay. So yeah, House of Dragons, Episode 8. Really good. I know I'm behind because I know it's been out for a couple days now, Sunday night, but I was working, so forgive me. Anyway, episode 8, seen it last night, really enjoyed it, as always. I mean, man, oh man, has this show, it had maybe one draggy, sucky episode. I don't forget which one it was, but every other episode, all the others have been good. This one, no exception. So, episode 8, we open with, and if you hadn't watched it, spoilers! So episode 8 opens with the news that Lord Corlys, the Sea Snake, I can't ever pronounce his name, but we'll just call him the Sea Snake, has suffered grave wounds and will probably die. And so the new ruler of Driftmark is up for grabs, but as we know, the Sea Snake wanted his grandson, which he believed was, he wanted to believe was, Laenor's son. Anyway, and we know it's not the case. We know it's not. I mean, look at them. They got friggin' brown hair. But anyway, so here's where the trouble ensues. The Sea Snake's, I guess, younger brother. I don't know. We'll just say younger brother to the Sea Snake. He wants it. Because he knows that he believes the truth that them boys ain't Laenor's kids, and he wants a pure blood, Valyrian blood to be the ruler of Driftmark, and so he presents this to be challenged, if you will, and so our lead characters, Daemon and Rhaenyra and their little brood of kids, have to travel to King's Landing, as they say, to sort of do a, almost like a friggin' Judge Mathis type civil court case type situation, right? It's some BS. Anyway, so they go there, but first, we find a happier and better, in a better place, Daemon, collecting, doing a little dragon egg farming. He's getting an egg because, they're about to have another one, him and Rhaenyra. They've already had 2, I think, at this point, and this will be their 3rd because, we time jump again. And they just seem like they're in a happy place, like I said in earlier videos and recaps, it's one of those things where it shouldn't happen because they're related, their aunt and uncle, and it's just weird, right? But they got such great chemistry, these 2 actors, and they have such a strong bond that you really kind of do root for them to work. And you can see that they're truly in a good place and they're happy with each other, and they pretty much would almost be willing to just live their life in peace away from King's Landing. But anyway, they're called back to sort of settle this case of Rhaenyra's middle son, if you will, that she supposedly had with Laenor to ascend and take the throne of Driftmark when the Sea Snake does die. We don't actually know if he does or not, P.S. Anyway, and so some pretty interesting things happen, this, that, and the other, some political scheming per usual. But what happens when they actually get to the throne room, the Iron Throne, to do the whole civil court case type situation is spectacular. King Viserys, in epic form, I think this has been his best scene in the entire series, shows up just when things are going tits up for Rhaenyra. He shows up, opens the doors, and just to set the scene, Otto, the dirtbag hand that none of us like, sitting on the Iron Throne like he owns the place. What a joke. Anyway, poor King comes hobbling in, and at this point, this man is on death's freaking door, right? He's got one foot in the grave and the other on a nannerpilling, as we say down here in the South. And so yeah, he comes walking in and to handle business and to come to Rhaenyra's aid. Finally, finally, he becomes a true papa to Rhaenyra and comes to her aid. And one of the best scenes in it for me in the entire series so far, and it was really good. And that's when King Viserys is trying to ascend up to his throne to sit on the Iron Throne, and he's in such poor health, so frail, can't hardly make it, and he stumbles, and his crown falls off, and it's just a really pitiful moment. And Daemon comes over, picks the crown up, puts it back on his brother's head, and helps him. He's like, "Come on, let's go back. Let's get on. Let me help you up." And it was just a really touching, emotional moment that really, really worked in the scene. Here's what the secret to this is. It was unscripted. It was totally improvised by Matt Smith. What an amazing actor. Acting at its finest, I must admit. Me and my wife both were like, that was incredible. Really good. Improvised. I'm telling you, man, oh man, what a great actor. But anyway, moving on. One of my favorite scenes so far. Anyway, the king pretty much says, look, this is my grandson. He will take the throne in Driftmark because that is the sea snake's wishes, and that is the wishes of his King Viserys' cousin, which is the sea snake's wife. So pretty much sit down, shut up, we're moving on. But of course, the huevos on this dude, the sea snake's brother that's wanting the throne from the kid. Man, does he got power. Anyway, he starts back talking the king. What? What a dirtbag. Anyway, he calls these two boys the ugly word, the BASTRDs, and he calls Rhaenyra a whore. Whore, as they say. That does not set well one bit with the king, Daemon, or anybody on that side. King sort of starts coming down. He got his dragon dagger out, and he's like, "Look, I'll cut you. I'll have your tongue for this." And before we know it, whoosh! In one fell swoop, Daemon whacks old homeboy's head off at like the upper jaw up. Head rolls off. And one of the most bad-ended, I'm talking about action hero lines of this whole entire franchise. Game of Thrones, House of the Dragons, Daemon says he can keep his tongue. What? Chili bumps. I mean, whoosh. Anyway, awesome, epic. So we get to a dinner scene where the king pretty much is like, look, I'm about to croak. Can you all bunch of morons of mine get on? Put this dysfunction bunch of bullcrap away and let us please act like we are civil and love each other for one night. So, they start toasting each another and one another and making, trying to make peace, or at least to be seen making face at making peace for the king. And so in a really touching moment, he kind of looks around and sees that they are trying, and I guess he figures I can die now in peace, knowing that maybe this bunch will not lose their minds and try to kill each other. So he goes back to his room, sick, having a spell. And of course, when Papa's not in the room, when the cat's away, the mouse will play. All these bunch of little young brats start making fools at each other and starts acting fools up in here, right? Acting a fool. I think the grown-ups, the Rhaenyra and Alicent, I think they could make peace. I think they could put aside their differences and try to become friends again, the adults. Maybe not Otto, because he's a sneaking, sniveling little conniving snake. But, them two I think could. But it's these young kids, man. These young bucks that want to start some crap. And that's where it's going to come in at. That's where the Civil War for House of the Dragons, these two families will wind up happening because of these bunch of kids. Anyway, there was some scenes at the end that I really could not make out what was happening. Couldn't hear real good. I think it was shot pretty poor. because I really wanted to hear or know what the king was saying to Alicent. He was talking about the vision of King Aegon and the Song of Fire and Ice to Alicent, to which she didn't know about. And but I was kind of wondering if he thought that maybe she was Rhaenyra. And so I don't know. I gotta go back and rewatch just to figure that out. And so yeah, really good episode. Did not disappoint. Was worth the wait for me. Episode 9 coming up. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Come on. Targaryens. I'm Team Targaryen, people, through and through. Daemon, Rhaenyra, to the Iron Throne. Anyway, so yeah, we got, what, 2 more episodes, 9 and 10, and then that's going to wrap her up for season 1. It's going to wrap it up. So, yeah. What did you guys think? Thought it was a pretty decent episode? I thought so. Anyway, see you next Sunday night.